Please note that all attendees today will be muted and the chat and video functions disabled. Thank you again for taking the time to join us.
Hello, and welcome to Northern Ohio's Women for Israel lunch break with our WFI chair, Margaret Singerman, and our featured speaker, Gaylee Schif from LOTEM in Israel. I am Mindy Feigenbaum, Director for Northern Ohio. These are unprecedented times, but we are so grateful for technology and for your participation today. Special shout out to our Jewish National Fund Northern team for helping us today. June Gross, Director of our Center of Excellence, Ellie Taylor, Events Manager, and our COE professionals, John Israeloff, Courtney Brown, Nicole Mavrogiannis, Sarah King. JNF has a great team, and because of all their hard work, we can bring programs like this to you. Should you have any technical difficulties over the next 35 minutes, rest assured that a recording of this program will be made available to you. We're all here because we deeply support the State of Israel and Jewish National Fund's strategic vision to ensure a strong, secure, and a prosperous future for its land and people. But over the past 2 months, we've been forced to adjust our lives to a new reality. And while the new reality is hopefully short-lived, I must tell you that JNF did not skip a beat. JNF, a $100 million nonprofit, which serves beneficiaries across the globe, pivoted with speed and efficiency to address the sudden urgency of Israel's new challenges. JNF will continue the construction of schools, medical centers, homes, and yes, bomb shelters across the periphery of the country. But as donors, we should all be immensely proud that JNF has found ways to provide critical support in times of critical need. JNF was on the ground long before COVID-19. We are there now, and we will be there when the world begins turning again. May is Women's Month. Every gift made today will be matched up to $1 million. Please consider a gift for Israel and to help LOTEM, which you will hear about momentarily. Every gift is greatly appreciated. You can make a difference in a child's life. I will be happy to put a pledge in the system. All you have to do is call me at 216-292-8733. Join us. Be a part of Women for Israel. It is now my pleasure to introduce Margaret Singerman. Margaret is a member of our Sapphire Society, a member of our Northern Ohio Board of Directors, our Women for Israel Chair, and my good friend. Ladies, Margaret Singerman.
Women for Israel is a dynamic group of female philanthropists who share a passion for building a prosperous future for the land and people of Israel. We are mothers and daughters, aunts and friends. And when Israel calls for our support, we stand up individually and collectively and say, you can count on us. JNF has met with every Israeli affiliate we support and asked 2 questions. What do you need and when do you need it? You can see on the screen the impact that you can make today by supporting JNF at a number of different levels. Won't you join me and the Women for Israel with a gift of support to our Israeli family today? Every gift made during the month of May will be matched up to $1 million. You can make a difference. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guest today, Gaylee Schif, a woman with deep commitment to creating an inclusive Israeli society. She is a passionate advocate who was inspired to pursue work in disability inclusion by being the mother of a child who struggled with disabilities early in life, and who is the JNF liaison for LOTEM, Making Nature Accessible, which empowers children and adults with special needs across Israel through educational activities in nature and outdoors. She is a versatile professional who has a BA in political science and journalism and a master's degree in internal auditing, and who has extensive experience as a local newspaper editor, as well as an auditor of government, authorities, and private companies. She is a woman of vision who works tirelessly to integrate children with special needs into Israeli society and sees supreme value in advancing that mission of inclusion. Please welcome a woman who is staunchly dedicated to effecting positive social change, Gaylee Schif.
Shalom, everybody. Hi. Thank you for joining us. My name is Gaylee Schif, and thank you, Margaret, for the great welcome. I'll just, before I tell you about what's going on right now in Israel and what we've been up to those past few months, I want to tell you a little about LOTEM, a little about my connection to LOTEM. So, as you can hear, I'm Israeli. I was born in Israel. I was raised in Israel. My mother was American. She came from Los Angeles. She was daughter of one of the biggest rabbinic figures in the Jewish world then in Los Angeles. And she decided to do Aliyah on her own. She was very Zionist. She came to Israel when she was 18, did the Hachshara, went to the kibbutz, then to university, where she met my father. My father is Israeli, from a family that most of the family, of course, was distinguished in the Holocaust. He was studying for a second degree in physics and mathematics. They got married, and they were very Zionist and very ideologist. They were devoted to establishing new Jewish communities in Israel, and they did so. The place where I grew up and I was born is a city, a beautiful city, that my father was the mayor of it for over 20 years. Afterwards, he moved on to national politics, became a Knesset member, and served as an MP in Israel for the last 23 years. He retired at the last election that just happened in Israel at the beginning of last year at the age of 74, after he was the head of the financial committee and the head of the law committee and a very influential politician in Israel. So this is my household. This is where I grew up. And when I was 20 something, I went to the same university that my mother went to, and I met my husband there. And he was studying for a second degree in law, and I was studying for my master's degree in internal auditing. And when we got married, we were just, young couple, very happy, very not expecting much, just the best, like all young couples. And when we were having our first child, about a year after our marriage, we were very happy. And then we were double happy when we learned that we were going to have twins. And that was a great surprise for us, and very exciting, and, a lot of thoughts and a lot of things going on around that. But in the early stage of the pregnancy, I felt something was wrong. I went to the hospital. I turned out to be admitted there for over 2 months. And it was a very terrible time. The pregnancy was not going well. And I went through terrible, treatments in an attempt to save this pregnancy. I ended up having my daughter at 27 weeks of pregnancy at less than 1.5 pounds. She was one of the smallest babies that were born and survived in Israel at that time. We lost the other baby. And it was a shock. From this young, easygoing, happy couple going places, we became parents of a child that was struggling with special needs. Noah was born very small, And she had problems even before she was born, and of course after she was born. They are very typical to uh, very premature children. She had bleeding in her brain, she had bleeding in her eyeballs, she had a chronic lung disease called BPD. She went through open heart surgery. She went through a lot. For months and months we spent in the hospital, and then for years in and out of hospitals. Until Noah was 3 years old, she was considered 100% disabled in the Social Security in Israel. And we had to wait a few years until all the blood absorbs in the brain, and then you can see the scope of the injury. And those were very difficult times for us. For the first time, not only I understood and I had the opportunity to meet with the facts of people with special needs, but also being a parent of a child with special needs, which is another thing. And to be a parent of a child with special needs is very difficult. It's hard physically, and it's hard emotionally, it's hard financially, and it's also hard socially. I had friends and they all were having children at the same time, but their children were different than mine, and we were in a different course. And even though we were very close and very good friends, something divided us. We were in a different course than they were. And that is something that I could always, since then, resonate with parents of children with special needs. And the years have gone by, and Noah grew up very nicely. She is healthy, she's good, she's terrific, she's smart, she's great. She's not like everyone else, but overall, we were very, very lucky with her. And that sense of how lucky we are, how fortunate we are, never left me. And also the understanding the empathizing with people and parents of children with special needs. And we've always been, not only me, my whole family, we're always very advocates for special needs, and we were very involved in open small classes where we live in our city and being involved. But over the years, we had another child, Oli, and then another set of twins. And we're very happy, and everything is going well. And my husband he started as a criminal prosecutor. He is now a 3-star commander. He is the head of the investigation department in Israeli police. And I was an editor of a local newspaper for many years. But 2.5 years ago, our oldest daughter, Noah, graduated high school. And that was a very, very special time for us. It was the best. And I felt that at this time I needed to devote more time and more energy to something that I believe in, from the place that I'm very thankful for all the good fortune that I had, and to be devoted to the concept of inclusion. The concept of inclusion is very broad and very wide. It's more than an elevator. It's more than a ramp. It's much more than that. It is about bringing people, enabling people with special needs to have a full life, not only a life, but a life that is worth living with everything that we have, which is interest, which is action, activities, doing things, going places, everything that we like to do, everything that my children like to do, I want for other people's children with special needs. So I was very fortunate to join LOTEM. LOTEM is an organization that, of course, I knew many years ago, but it was good timing for me, and I joined LOTEM. LOTEM is the largest organization in Israel for outdoor activities for people with special needs. And what I liked about LOTEM and what drew me there is that there are many organizations and many institutions and many opportunities to help people with special needs, but most of them, there are niche, like helping something specific, which is great and terrific. I wanted to, coming from a very political home and from the kind of life that I lived, I wanted to have something to do with an organization that has a very broad impact on the whole Israeli society, that really makes a difference and makes a change. And LOTEM is a very strong organization, very well-known organization that has a strong effect on the Israeli society. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about what LOTEM is doing. So LOTEM is a I'd say old organization in Israel. I don't know how you say it in English, maybe senior. It has been operating in Israel for 27 years, which means it's one of the most established and it's there for 27 years. It's a long time in Israel, which is a country of 70 years only. So it's a big organization and it's very much branched. And if I want to tell you about what LOTEM does, I'll divide it into two. First of all is the educational part, which is the main part of the LOTEM. LOTEM is an organization that is defined by being an educational organization. So what we do is, first of all, we take all the children from all special needs schools on school trips. So every school with special needs, of children with special needs that want to go on a school trip, will take LOTEM. We have a variety, we have a lot of instructors for any kind of disability on any kind of level. And we take them on school trips. We take them on, we subsidize the trip, we subsidize the bus, we subsidize the places and the tour guides, and going into accessible routes that we have over 120 routes in Israel. That's routes, places to go to. So that's the first thing that we do. We work with the Ministry of Education in Israel. And last year we took 43,000 children on school trips in the country. The second thing is that we have programs in institutions and in hostels and places where people cannot leave because of their situations. So that's children, that's young adults, and that's adults. This is for all the country we do it. And last year we served 51,000 people on that branch, which is the highest demand for what we do. And it's something that we can never give everything that is demanded, because the resources that is needed for that are a lot, but still 51,000 participants a year. Then, of course, we have Emek Shalom, which I don't know how many of you have been there, but if you haven't, then you definitely should come. And if you've been there for the last, I'd say 2 years, then you also should come, because everything is very dynamic and evolving. It's one of the most beautiful places in the country. It's a 40-acre farm that serves as an educational center that is fully accessible. It is located in the heart of one of the most beautiful preservations in the country, called Emek HaMenashe. And it's just a beautiful, magical place. And we have about 12 different days, full days, to come to, for schools and institutions to come to with their students. We provide them a full day of hands-on educational activities and work. So one day they can do wine, and the other day they can do the olive press, and then they can do pitot and bread, and they can do the hike on the path of creation. And we have the ecological pool. Next year we're going to have a sensory trail. There are about 12 different full days of activity that we give. And the only place in Israel that serves the population of people with special needs. And it's just magical. So coming there is definitely special and worthwhile. And we have 14,000 visitors a year to Emek HaShalom. Besides that, we have an in-service training center where we train professionals that come into contact or work with people with special needs, or have to accommodate and create job environments that are accommodating for people with special needs. Most of the people that come to our in-service training center are government officials, and this is how we started. We work with the Israeli government, and we served 6,000 participants last year that went through our accessibility training. Also after them came the high-tech companies and the private sector companies, and it's going well. This is only part of the things that we do, and the capacity of what we do is definitely on a very large scale nationwide. So this is LOTEM. And this is the educational part. The other part of what we do is making Israel accessible. We make heritage sites, national parks, and museums accessible. Currently, we have 19 contracts with the Israeli government to make different locations in Israel accessible. Places that if you come to Israel, you probably know Ammunition Hill, the Ben Gurion Museum, the Herzl Museum, athlete detention center. All those places are going to be accessible on different levels of accessibility. Some will be accessible for people that can't see, or people that can't hear, or people that can't walk. Some will be accessible for all of them. It depends on the budget that that we were assigned. But 19 museums and heritage sites in Israel are going to be accessible. We're making them accessible. So this is the second thing that we do. So this is general what LOTEM is doing. But of course, now with the COVID-19, things are changing. So I'll take a few minutes to just talk about what's going on in Israel right now. So in Israel, for the first time, we are in crisis, but it's not only you calling us to say, stay safe, take care, how are you doing? It's also us calling you because we are in the same situation as you are, all the world is. And for the first time, we're just going through the same crisis together. And I think that in Israel, maybe we were a little bit earlier and going into detention, into closing into our homes. So that worked for our benefit. We are finishing now 9 weeks of that. So it's 9 weeks of me being home with my kids and everyone else. It's not easy. You probably know that. We were talking before with Margaret and talking just now about, she's asking me, when is dinner here? And I said, you know, food is going on all the time. It's 24/7 open. That's how it is. It's not easy, but still this week, we started opening. And I don't know, I think that Israel, I don't know how it is for you, but in Israel, there's a little bit of sense of euphoria. People are very happy, feeling that it's, I don't know, on the way to be over. The schools are starting now with the younger children. The 1st to 3rd grade, they're doing it only 3 days a week. Next week, they're going to try it with the older children. Of course, the children with special needs are not yet back to school because of the fact that they are high risk. So they're doing about 2 hours once a week. And also, even that, it's not really working, because like from a school of 60 children will come 10, a school of 140 will come, 30 children, because there's no transportation. So the parents have to bring them, and then they have to stay for 2 hours, and they can't always do it. They have other children at home. So sometimes they decide not to send them. Of course, children that are in high risk will not go at all. And that brings me to what we did at LOTEM. So the minute it started, the minute the schools finished, the first children that were sent home are the children with special needs, because of course, those are the children that are at higher risk. And we had to adjust immediately to the situation, because most of our work is done either in the schools or with the school system, or on the sites. And both of aspects were closed. So we adjusted very fast. And I commend my CEO for doing that. So first of all, most of our employees went on a leave. The first one to take himself on a leave was our CEO, which of course is working full time, but is just not getting paid for that. And he did that to show solidarity and to show personal example for his employees. And the whole sector, but I have to say that the whole sector of special needs, because it's strong connection to the kids and its devotion, the whole sector is still active. So we're still talking with the schools and with the teachers and with the principals, and they're all there for us. And we're there for them too. So the minute the school stopped and the children were home, the name of the game was long distance learning. And this is exactly what Israel was not prepared for, and the schools were not prepared for. They have no programs, and especially not for the special needs schools. And this is exactly LOTEM's specialty. Doing the accessibility of the information is what we specialize in, and we're considered to be the best in Israel in that sense. So what we did, we started using our reserves and to create programs for children with special needs on different levels of educational programs for schooling. And we associated, the whole sector really got together. We associated with the umbrella organizations, and we came out together and we started producing those programs. Of course, we gave them to the schools and to the institutions, no cost, because this is our service. We've been with them for 27 years and we're not leaving them right now. What also came to our knowledge doing this and being involved in that area is that there are children with special needs that do not have the ability to participate in the long distance learning because they don't have computers or laptops at their homes. And this fact was just, it hit us how important it is, because this is the only way today for the last 2.5 months for children with special needs, for any child, to connect and to communicate with their teachers and their friends. So, and also if you're talking about, if, you know, my children cannot connect with their teachers for a week, it's okay, they can live with it, right? Even better. But for child with special needs, in the sector of special needs, the connection between the teachers and the caregivers and the children is very, very significant. And without this connection, and without the connection with the friends, and without seeing them and talking with them, children with special needs are very lonely. And I think that the loneliness, the concept, the understanding of loneliness, today people can resonate to it even more. And you have to understand that even when you felt a little bit lonely and a little bit alone and a little bit disconnected because of the situation, you have to understand that the children with special needs, for them, this is the facts of life. This is how the reality of their life is. And it is, a lot of the times, it's even on regular days it's like this, and especially these times. And many of the children do not understand what happened. Why is their routine disturbed? Why can't they go outside? Why can't they see the teachers? Why can't they go to, just leave their home? They don't get it. And it's very, very difficult for the parents to be at home with a kid that has nothing to do and doesn't understand why the situation is, and it's just not connected to everything that is routine and used to. And the teachers and the parents are reporting a very, very big regression in all the achievements that they had in terms of physical achievements and cognitive achievements and behavioral achievements, and also talking about signs of depression, which of course will manifest in a different way than it will for us, but they can identify depression and sadness and loneliness, and that's really sad. So we decided to, with the Akeem, which is the biggest umbrella organization for all the families with special needs in Israel, to coordinate a national program called Computer for Every Child, in order to secure every child, to reassure that every child has a computer or a laptop. It depends what the school needs. So we have lists of children from all over the country that we get from the teachers, from the schools. And they also send us the requirements if they need a laptop or a computer or a tablet, if what kind of software they need embedded it in, and we make it happen. We purchase the device, we embed all the software, and we bring them to their homes. We set a goal of 200 children. We got them already, we got 76 children the computers. It's an $1,800 gift for a computer. And if it's a tablet, of course, there will be about 3 tablets there. And still, I can tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth. The goal is still 200, because the requests and the names and the schools that are keeping calling us, and they need more and more children. So we're still at the goal of 200. And we've been very fortunate that JNF and the JNF partners in America were, calling us, what do you need? How can we help? And people were just pitching in and giving us and helping us. And every gift matters. Every gift of $1,800 or double it or triple it helps and makes a difference for those children. And if we can, I'd like to show you a short video of just one of the kids getting a computer, just so we get the sense of it, what it means for them. Can we do that, Nicole?
ליאל, מה שלומך?
בסדר,
איך את מרגישה בימים האלה?
טוב.
פריאל היא בת 21 היום, ילדה עיוורת עם שיתוק מומחי והרבה בעיות ברקע.
מי אוהב אותך?
אבא.
כמה אוהב אותך?
המון.
היא מאוד אוהבת לשמוע מוסיקה, כי היא לא רואה, הכל דרך השמיעה, סיפורים, ואני חושבת שהטאבלט יהיה וואו בשבילה. פריאל!
מה תגיד?
מה תגידי?
תודה.
תודה, רק תודה. איזה חיוך! איזה חיוך! איזה יופי. עכשיו יהיה לך מה לעשות.
וואו,
נכון?
וואו, וואו.
היא כבר רוצה לפתוח. וואו, 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 פריאלה!
הנה, הנה, הנה.
נו, תגידי משהו.
יפה.
זה יפה, את
מחשיבים
יודעת?
אותה וזהו.
זה בצבע לבן, והמסך בשחור, ועוד מעט יהיה כל מיני ציפורים ומוסיקה בפנים.
הביתה עכשיו, נכון? היו
באמת.
שרים, רסמי.
האמת? אני מרוצה מזה, תאמיני לי, תראי איך אני מבסוטית. תראי.
יופי שאת מבסוטה.
או, מקריאה את השיר הזה?
Okay, so I think that these images speak louder than any words that I say. You just can see the impact, the effect that it has on her life. And her parents, Priel, has very nice parents. Her father has cancer, and the situation, the financial situation at home is difficult. It made a huge difference in their lives. So thank you. Just to conclude and to end, I'd like to just finish with a small anecdote, something that happened to us that I think is worth telling. So about 2.5 weeks ago was Yom Ha'atzmaut, the Independence Day in Israel, and we had a request from a school in Eilat. Eilat is the most southern city in Israel. I don't know if you had the chance to be in. It's a beautiful city. It's a city of tourism. But now, of course, there's no tourism and all the hotels are closed. And there is a very difficult financial situation in Eilat. Over 80% unemployed. It is now the poorest city in Israel. And in Eilat, they have one school for children with special needs. They have children from the age of 6 to 21 with all the variety of special needs because it's only one very small school. And they have about 200 students. And we had a request for them for 9 computers for children with really, really difficult stories, really sad stories. And we got the computers for them and we wanted to give it to them, but we couldn't because there was a curfew in Israel, and before the holidays, there was a curfew. You couldn't leave the house. You couldn't go from city to city, and we couldn't make it happen. Any courier company could not do it for us, and we had a lot of volunteers who offered to help, but we couldn't make the whole distance with, the Arava, the Negev, the whole thing. We couldn't get it. So we didn't know what to do, and we had to go. We wanted the kids to be part of the ceremonies of the Memorial Day, of the Independence Day. We wanted them to be part of the school and with their children, with their friends and the teachers, and just be part of it. We didn't know what to do, so I called the chief of police, and I asked him to help us. So I spoke to the chief of the highway police in Israel, and he said, we're going to do it. And they came to Lotem in the north of Israel, and they took the computers, and then they transferred that from one car to another car, all across all the districts in Israel, from one car to another until it got to Eilat. And then the policemen came to the children's homes and gave them the computers. And I can't tell you how ecstatic the children were to get a computer from the policeman. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And we have a short video. If we can show it, I'd love it. I think it's fun.
אני רוצה להודות קודם כל משטרת ישראל, לשניכם הנהדרים שהביאו את המחשבים האלה לעמותת לוטם ול-JNF. המחשבים האלה הולכים לאנשים וילדים שאין להם בכלל, ואין להם אמצעים בדרכם שתקשר איתם בתקופה לבצע איתם אחר. תודה רבה 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 למשטרה על זה, ל-JNF ולעמותת לוטם.
אנחנו אוהבים אתכם. תודה רבה ל-JNF, לעמותת לוטם, תרומה מדהימה, אין לי מה לומר. תודה על הערבות ההדדית הנהדרת הזאת. תודה רבה.
So I think it's beautiful. I can tell you that from those terrible times that we've been through and the terrible stories that we hear and really sad, those are the moments of solidarity and mutual responsibility that I would like to remember from these days. So thank you again for joining. Thank you for being there for us. And I wish you all the best and take care and stay safe.
Sharing your personal and most moving passion for LOTEM. And I don't think there's one of us who has been on this Zoom that hasn't been moved by you, the videos, and just have all of you in our hearts. And thank you. We look forward to a time when we can bring you to Cleveland. Once again, if you would like to support JNF today, as I have, please consider joining us in the Women for Israel Society by pledging a minimum gift of $360 through the Jewish National Fund website or by calling JNF office at 213-292-8733. And I know that I am after this. I was making a pledge, but I'm going to increase my pledge. It is just so heartwarming what LOTEM and JNF has done. Thank you for spending your lunch break with JNF. Please, all of you stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.